welcome back. This is my last vlog from the London trip. So luckily the flight back from London went super smoothly compared to the flight there. We had no delays, our flight was right on time. This vlog is strictly going to be about my travel back from London to Dallas and Dallas to Kentucky and just how that entire day went. I'm also going to talk about different experiences and memories that I have from my trip in London. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Our adventure began at TSA inside the London airport, where they were very strict about liquids. So strict, in fact, this girl that was in line with me in the CCSA group, she forgot to pour out her water bottle. So she had leftover water inside that was sitting in her backpack. And after it went through the scanner, it got pushed over to be searched. It was not a good situation. She was held up for maybe 20 minutes where they had to not only confiscate it, but they had to test it, do a full body search on her. It was pretty bad. That clip is us standing there waiting for the girl while they searched her bag. I felt so bad. Lesson learned, make sure your water is poured out. After the chaos at TSA, we finally were walking to our gate, which was at the very end. This airport was incredibly fancy with all of the high-end brands right within walking distance. After a long walk, we finally reached gate 36. At this point, we had about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to chill before boarding our plane. But something funny happened during this period of time. Well, first, here's a little background story. During our 2 weeks in London, me and Cassidy discovered a really popular coffee shop in London called Caffè Nero. It became our favorite place ever. After going through TSA and all of that, we were all split up, and Cassidy sent me a text and she goes, "You won't believe what's here. There's a Caffè Nero." And I was like, you know where I'm going then. After getting to our gates, I still had a 20-pound bill left over and I really just wanted to use it up. So I walked around, bought some snacks, and I went over to Caffè Nero. I got me a yogurt and a granola bar, and I sat at the tables right by Caffè Nero, and I FaceTimed my boyfriend for a few minutes. This older woman, a few tables ahead of me, she was facing me. She was trying to get my attention. I had my AirPods in. After realizing she was trying to get my attention, she asked what the time was. I replied, 12:08. She then looks at me funny, thought maybe she just needed me to repeat it again, so I told her it's 12:08. Well, she goes, "Oh, you mean 8 after 12? I said, "Yes, 8 after 12. And then I kind of laughed and I was like, "I'm from America. I guess that's just how we say time here." And she goes, "Oh, well, I'm from Russia. It's so nice to meet an American." And she kind of laughed. It was just really funny. She then asked me what the time was in Washington State. I got out my phone, I typed in Seattle, Washington, and I told her it was like 4 in the morning. And then I asked her if she was traveling to Washington. She told me first she's going to Dallas and then going to Washington from Dallas. I told her I'm going to Dallas too. And from there, we just started talking, and she made a little joke saying, "Well, I'm gonna be relying on you to make sure I get my gate okay and get on the flight okay." After I got back to my gate, the old woman walks back up to me and she hands me her phone. She asked me if I could connect her phone to Wi-Fi. I grabbed her phone, thinking I could help. Her entire phone was in Russian. I was very confused, and I was not the best help. After we got to Dallas, I saw her again. I talked to her a little bit more. We were in line for customs. It was really cool to meet an old woman from Russia inside the London airport. A little after 1 o'clock, we all boarded our international flight. I watched 2 movies and even played Pac-Man during the entire flight. The flight attendants took very good care of us by providing us a few meals and even some ice cream, and of course, beverages. The total flight time was over 9 hours, so we had a long flight ahead of us. I really enjoyed tracking where we were throughout the flight, so this little map came in handy. 9 hours later, and we were preparing to land in Dallas.
So, if you're around, look at this place underneath the seat in front of you. Right here on the in front of you.
After we arrived in Dallas, we had to wait in this really long line for customs. The line was insanely long. We were walking probably at least 5 minutes just to get to the back of the line. It was just a continuous walk. We did not see an end to it at all. But once we got in line, the line moved fairly quickly and we eventually got up there. All they did was take our picture. Our entire group was split up, so we were all running to our gate trying to make it. As the flight was boarding, we thought some of us weren't going to make it, but thankfully we all did. Oh, that is so pretty. Can you send it to me? Yes. Say hi, guys. Hi. We finally all got on the Dallas to Lexington flight. This flight was only about 2 hours, but I slept the entire time. And after a long day of traveling, we finally made it back home.